Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are so excited and so thankful for you all to be joining us today for our Academic Connect with the Honors College. So we have an incredible day or evening planned for you all. So thank you for being here. What we'll do is we're going to cover a lot of the hot topics and questions that you guys might have. And so I want to point your at least attention to the chat down below. There's a Q&A. Make sure you put your questions in there that you really want to know more information or details about when it comes to the Honors College, okay? But we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to help to introduce some of our team that we have here. We have some incredible students, faculty, and of the utmost incredible, our assistant director for the Honors College. He is fabulous, true APU alumni through and through. Yes, Curtis Isozaki. Go ahead, Curtis, take it away. Give us a little bit of an intro on who you are. We'll meet Dr. Kern, and then we'll go through our students that are here to share a little bit about the Honors College today.
Fantastic. Hi, everyone. My name is Curtis Isozaki, and I'm the Assistant Director of the Honors College at Azusa Pacific University. And I have the joy to be able to journey alongside you throughout the college admissions process when you get to Azusa Pacific University and as you graduate from APU, joining the legacy of difference makers.
Wonderful. Dr. Kern, will you share a little bit with us about who you are, what you do for the university, and how you teach in the Honors College?
Hi, yes, my name is Dr. Christine Kern. I am an associate professor in the Honors College. I've been teaching with honors for 6 years, and this is my second year as a full-time faculty member. I'm teaching the Honors 101 colloquy for some of the people you see here today, and we are having a great time discussing great texts, talking about them, writing about them. And I'm also currently teaching the senior course, the Oxbridge, where over the course of the year, our students write an entire book together that's published by the Honors College. So that's really exciting.
So amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I brought some of those books with me today to show you guys. So you guys get to see some of these firsthand. But let's hear from our students. Jackson and Kaylee, will you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hey guys, I'm Jackson. I am a senior, actually. And then my other major is I am a pre-med biology student, which I can give you guys more info on later if you have any questions.
Hi, my name is Kaylee. I'm a sophomore psychology and honors humanities major, and I'm from San Diego.
Amazing, thank you. And then we're gonna hear from Taina and Ellie. Will you two both introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, my name is Taina Esteves. I am a first year, also honors double major, as well as a BFA major. Nice to see everyone.
Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm a psych major and a freshman, and I'm calling in from Dallas, Texas tonight.
Amazing, thank you so much. We're so excited for all of you guys. So I do want to point your attention one more time to the Q&A that we have. Pop all of your questions in. If you hear a student here that has your major of interest, let's ask them some questions and ask them, how do you do the Honors College and your major? So we're super excited to get started. I'm going to go ahead and let Curtis take it away. He's going to give you guys a presentation to share a little bit more in depth about the Honors College.
Awesome. I'm really excited to share with you about APU, and I'm going to take a second to share my screen real quick. We have a great presentation here for you. So with that being said, take a look at your screen. I cannot wait to tell you about the Honors College. You know, your 4 years in college are going to be some of the most foundational years of your life. You know, at Azusa Pacific, that foundation is going to be solidified by our 4 cornerstones: Christ, scholarship, community, and service. And it'll really become a launching pad to something bigger and better for the rest of your life. You know, students don't just come to Azusa Pacific, but they go from Azusa Pacific into a world joining a legacy of difference makers. And we're looking forward to seeing what that looks like for you, as really our heart is to equip and train difference makers to make an impact in every sphere of society, both locally and globally. Man, we are in desperate need for great leaders, disciples, scholars, and citizens in our time today. You know, throughout your 4 years at APU, you'll be involved in your degree program, whether you're wanting to study in the sciences or the arts or theology or whatever that may be. We're excited to come alongside you as a part of your academic journey being in the Honors College. With that being said, for us in the Honors College, we love coming alongside students, asking life's biggest questions, answering life's biggest questions. What is good? What is happiness? What is leadership? And as we engage these great questions, we dive into studying great texts. And these great texts are being studied in one hand with the Word of God through faith integration in the other. And we believe as we engage in some of these various sources like Aristotle, Socrates, Dante, Martin Luther King, and Emily Dickinson, and more, we are excited to be able to see what this means for our day to day. You'll have the opportunity to engage in lectures, Socratic dialogue, and colloquies, and so much more. You know, the best way to describe the Honors College is through our mission. The Honors College at Azusa Pacific University really exists to educate the next generation of intellectually gifted Christian leaders. And the best way to describe your learning experience at Azusa Pacific, and specifically in the Honors College, is a student-centered approach to education. And so with that being said, you will engage in rigorous curriculum, relevant academia, and relational pedagogy. I know that's a lot of words, but I'll dive into this, really talking about each of those one by one. The first one is rigorous curriculum. You'll have the opportunity to engage in these various great texts, as I mentioned. And with engaging with those great texts through great conversations, you will actually not have to take any exams throughout your time in the Honors College. Yes, for your other degree program, but instead of your general education track, you will have all of those classes waived as you get a second major in Honors Humanities. As you engage in these great texts, we allow these texts to not speak for the Honors College, but to the Honors College. And we're challenged to learn and write, and we'll write these papers called exegetical commentaries that really build connections between your great passion and the world's greatest needs. The second one is relevant academia. Man, you want to go to college and attend a college that is going to allow you to become vocationally engaged. It's going to needs to be relevant to you. So as you imagine your time at Azusa Pacific, you'll be engaging in Socratic discussions just like this. As you engage in these Socratic discussions, you'll talk about what is happiness. You'll talk about the connection between your degree program and virtue and ethics and life's great understanding. And an example of the exegetical commentary, as you take a section of the text and write a paper around it, you could have the opportunity to personalize that to what you're wanting to study. And so, for example, we had a student who's an English major. We're reading about Darwin, and maybe some of you have heard of that. And she decided to write her paper on natural selection and its impact on the publishing industry. How impactful is a paper like that? Not only will you engage in that kind of content, but you'll also learn how to dive into public speaking, engaging people in this kind of space online and also in person, as our hope is that our students will learn to speak clean and clear, as well as hate it less, because public speaking can be hard, and realize that liking it is an option. You know, public speaking can be scary, but it is needed for leaders and citizens to make an impact in our society today. And then also relational pedagogy. We like to cultivate a culture of resonators, people who show interest, show encouragement, and provide great feedback in the things of our lives. You know what a resonator is? It's like an instrument. Within an instrument, like a guitar, you have various strings. We often think it's the strings that is making the music that we hear today, but it's really the body of that instrument that allows the sound to resonate. And our students who attend the Honors College come with great passion and great purpose that they hope to see in the world today. But it is through relationships, through a living learning community at APU, that becomes that resonator, that when the strum of the strings happen, it resounds and amplifies in our world today. Every student and member of our community are the makeup of very much of an orchestra. And throughout your learning experience, we have such an integrated community devoted to each other's success. We do that through rhetoric groups, which you'll get to learn today about. You'll experience that through a mentoring program. You'll experience that through living on campus together in the halls with other people in the Honors College. And we just believe that it makes for a holistic and robust experience. And so I know that right now you're probably on your 7th Zoom call right now. Yeah, I am on one of those as well. And man, but online learning can be significant as we seek to return together in the fall of 2021. And so but I would love for you to understand what our community looks like right now online, because man, we are still engaging with one another in such a tight-knit community that I described, one that is student-centered and focused. So take a look at your screen. I'd love for you to be able to watch this video.
Learning this year does look a bit different than it has before. Classrooms and dorms have been replaced by laptops in bedrooms. Everybody, from students to teachers, have been jostled by this abrupt change. Nevertheless, we carry on. As students, professors, athletes, artists, and professionals, all of us have to adapt and grow. In the Honors College, we read, wrote papers, struggled, succeeded, laughed, made new habits, and broke old ones. Although we're scattered across the globe, we did it together, and we're still in this together. If the last few months have taught us anything, it is that wisdom and virtue are not just found in classrooms or on campus. It's found also when we learn together.
You know, there's nothing like learning together and not being alone. You know, in the Honors College, our heart is to live life together in pursuit of goodness and happiness and virtue. And that's why we want to encourage you as a high achieving leader. We want to come alongside you and to be able to, instead of taking those general education classes, adding to your experience by being a part of the Honors College. You know, you're going to be able to graduate with not just one degree, but also two. One in Honors Humanities, both done in 2 years. In addition to that, our class sizes are about 15 each per class, 15 to one student to teacher rate, and it's often less than that. And the major consists of 48 units. So it's actually a lot less than the number of units that you would taking those general education classes, which provides room to maybe get a master's degree. It provides room to be able to even add a minor. And we have students double majoring, some triple majoring, double majoring, and triple minoring. I'm not even kidding. A lot of great opportunities to really build your own degree program. You also have the opportunity to receive a $1,000 scholarship every year that you're in the Honors College. And so just for being admitted into the Honors College, you'll be able to see that $1,000 showing up on your financial aid once you've submitted your FAFSA. So don't forget to do that. You know, students are leading all across campus, and students that thrive in our program, they love to read, they love to write, they love to discuss. And again, they do that together. One of the things I wanted to highlight as one of the aspects that students graduate from APU with is they have the opportunity, if they persist throughout the program, to be able to publish a book. We call it an Oxbridge tutorial. It's one of our books that we've written. This one's on Lord of the Rings, and the person who wrote wrote with the introduction, he was Samwise Gamgee in the Lord of the Rings, which is really, really cool. But our students are leading across campus, publishing books, existing in a very collaborative space. We're really excited for you to get to know some of our students, but also wish one of these opportunities in the future, you'll get to meet some of our alumni who are serving in congressional relations in DC, working at Google, IBM, a Great Hearts Academy, receiving full ride scholarships from all over the nation. Some at the University of Wisconsin, Notre Dame, Johns Hopkins University, Yale, and so much more. Again, our heart in the Honors College is to come alongside you throughout your time at APU and not just see you be students, but become scholars, and not just see you be leaders, but also citizens. And so we're excited for you to get to know our students, but some overall next steps is if you haven't applied to the Honors College yet, there's still time. Our regular decision deadline is February 15th, and this year we're test optional. And so if you have a 3.8 GPA or higher, we'll take consideration of your overall application, and we could talk more about those details if needed. But the best thing that you can do is start your application. You're gonna wanna go to apu.edu/honors/apply to be able to get started. If you've submitted a trustee's application or scholarship, you actually won't have to fill out that writing sample. We'll use your writing sample and your references from that particular application. Some important dates and deadlines is we have some awesome events throughout the course of the spring. The opportunity to be in one of those Socratic discussions around friendship with Dr. Kern, who you'll have the opportunity to meet today, as well as some Meet the Honors College events. You'll receive more details in your email, but want to highlight our regular decision deadline on February 15th and our decision day, National Candidates Decision Day on May 1st. So we hope that you secure your spots at Azusa Pacific and the Honors College. I love this image because when we return to campus in the fall, our hopes to return to campus in the fall, you will have the opportunity to participate in this Candela service. You'll light a candle as a reminder that we're all called to be salt and light in the earth. You know, salt adds flavor to your food, as we hope that you will join a legacy of difference makers and add flavor to conversations. But also light illuminates atmospheres. We live in such a dark world, and when light shows up, it changes entire atmospheres. Our hope is to see you join this legacy of difference makers who are doing great things, receiving great scholarships, jobs, vocationally engaged, but really are in pursuit of goodness. And so I'm looking forward for you to be able to learn from our faculty as well as current students a little bit about what APU is like today.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Curtis, for sharing all that information. So incredibly helpful. I want to remind you guys to use the Q&A down below. Put your questions in there because you have all of these incredible students that are here and ready to answer these questions for you. So I do want to invite all of our team back, our faculty, our Honors College students, welcome back. We are ready to be able to give you questions so that you can give your insight to all of the wonders of prospective students. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started with why did you choose to attend APU and the Honors College? And so I would love to hear from Jackson. If you could give us a little bit about why you chose the Honors College and APU, and then we'll go Jackson to Taina, and then we're going to go to Ellie.
Thank you so much, Lucille. Okay, short answer to this question, to give a little bit of context. I actually am a transfer student. I transferred from a different college. I came in a second semester freshman into the Honors College. So that's why I am actually in 101 with Taina and Ellie and Dr. Kern this semester. So I've been very lucky to get to do that this way. I have a bit of an atypical honors experience in that way. But why I chose APU is, I think the reason why everybody should choose their university of choice is that it's the place where you feel most where you should be and where you want to be. I was very lucky to be a trustees finalist. Dr. Curtis had brought up that there's an application. I was a trustees finalist and made some really great friends over that weekend and was just blown away by that. And that had really pulled me in almost entirely. I'm the oldest of four, and so trying to account for money and scholarships and where going. I didn't end up winning the scholarship for the trustees, or to become I was a trustees finalist, but I didn't end up winning the scholarship. And so I ended up going to another school, and God had a plan, and I had a really, really hard semester. And he knew that my heart was still at APU, even though for some reason my brain wasn't. And I came back to APU, and I just had this incredible experience of how God opened doors and allowed me to have the scholarship money that I shouldn't have had access to. Dr. Dean Weeks, over the entire Honors College, actually, he told who used to be in Curtis's position when I was a freshman, to let me into the college, even though I wasn't supposed to get it. It was all these kind of crazy things that all came together at the right time. But I just was really blown back by the way that the Honors College is super intentional about the way that they're teaching you how to develop as a thinker, as an individual, and the intersection between your intellect and your heart is something that we care about. And because it's about that development of those two things, I fell in love with that, because I realized that you can be an intellectual all day long, but nobody cares what you think until they see how much you care. And one thing that we've really done a whole lot of stuff here, and I've just been continually reminded and have absolutely loved almost every single conversation I've had with every college I've ever been in, is because all of us are coming alongside each other to try to get a better understanding of what morality is, get a better understanding of intellectual and what that is. And so I feel so blessed to have gotten to do it, and have, even though, don't be like me and make the mistake of choosing the place on the basis of money and not where your heart is, because God's going to work with that, all of those things, because, he's just greater than all of the things we can possibly think of. But, I would 100% say it has to do with that intersection between the mind and the heart. And I think that's where honors is.
Yeah, totally seconding everything Jackson just said there. I would say one of the biggest reasons that I chose to go to the Honors College is because honors at APU was very intentional about the outreach that they want. They want you guys there. They want everyone there. And I think the community that comes from that is just really genuine. And I really appreciate it. As a more of an introverted person, online, I was like, oh, I'm fine. I can be home. Quarantine hasn't been a stressor for me. Like, I'm chilling in every way possible. But you can still feel that love and genuine regard that people in the Honors College have for each other, even over the computer screen. And everyone really wants you to be there for that dialogue that Jackson was mentioning. The future, like the dialogue that I know Dr. Kern talks about a lot that we have at Colloquy. It's just really heartfelt. And you can bring a lot of your problems and conversations and questions to this space that I felt like, even not being in Honors College yet, I could tell that this was the space that this was for. And then also, got to mention it, a scholarship is always great, because like, Jackson said, don't go to a school because you think you can only afford it. Go to a place that you want to be and like care for in your heart. But that financial support is also great, and it is there, and they are willing to work with you in whatever it looks like. So again, that genuine intentionality that Honors provides with their students that they don't even have at their school yet was just really appealing as a person who loves to learn and loves to talk about this stuff. So I think Honors did really well at that for APU. So that would be one of the biggest reasons that I chose to go to the Honors College here. On to you, Ellie.
Yeah, so I joined the Honors College because so as a psych major, I'm really interested in seeing psychology kind of come together with faith. And so when I was looking at colleges, I was looking for really faith-centered colleges that would be a space for me to kind of explore ideas alongside each other. And the Honors College gives me a space and a lot of flexibility to kind of explore that within the curriculum, which is incredible. And then also just, I love processing by talking with other people. That's like ideal for me. And so reading and writing alongside other people is just such a gift. And I don't know, there's also just a sense of what you're learning in the Honors College really matters. I think sometimes we lose sight of that in education, and there's always this centering of just like a desire for truth, which is just so incredible. So yeah, that's why I kind of chose APU.
Great insights, and thank you all so much for sharing your story. I know it's being vulnerable, right, to get out there and share for these students, so I thank you for that. All right, we actually have a question coming in from a student who's actually really interested in psychology and the Honors College. So I know we have 2 psychology majors, which is amazing. So some of the specific questions are, how does the Honors College and psychology work when it comes, along coursework, your actual workload, and then for those to the answer, could you also share a little bit about how Christianity has played a role in that experience for you two? So I know we have Kaylee and Ellie. So Kaylee, would you mind going first?
Yeah, sure. So I actually just changed my major to psychology. I used to be in business management. So Ellie and I are probably honestly about the same point in the psychology work. But my experience so far has been really great with it. And I definitely feel like it's psychology really truly does complement with the honors program. Like it's just really cool to see like some of the parallels between the things that I'm learning in my psych classes and also the things that we're discussing in like honors colloquy. So I have another friend who's in my colloquy, and she's also a psychology major, and she'll always bring up things that we're learning in psychology, like about different motivations or things and how those really belong to what we are learning and talking about. So that's definitely a big plus. And then how psychology interacts with faith. I think that was the question. Yeah, so I think for me, it's really cool for me to get to see like, to learn a bit more about like the human brain and like our behaviors. And honestly, it's helped me grow closer to the Lord, because I think that it's so cool to get to see like the way that he designed our brains is like just so cool and so fascinating. So yeah, Ellie, I don't know if you want to go ahead.
For sure. Yeah. So I think that, and I totally echo what Kaylee was saying, that the honors college and psychology work really well together. And I think it's because both kind of seek to understand people. So in psychology, we learn these frameworks to understand people, and we kind of observe and measure. But I think in the honors college, we look at philosophy and we look at theology, and we kind of try to understand people that way. And so it's been so exciting for me to read stories and just kind of see those things kind of come together, even though they're kind of the opposite, right? So measuring versus observing versus philosophy. And so they apply, like Kaylee was saying, totally. And then Christianity, for me in the honors college, it's been really enlightening to hear from like people of all different kinds of faith backgrounds, and hearing their perspectives, and just like balancing each other out is how I would say it. My faith has been challenged. So
Kind of to just piggyback off of Ellie's response there about how the honors college ties in with our faith journey, I was really intrigued with that because I've never been a big text person for like Bible text, if that makes sense. Obviously, I got the good bits, I know the general, and I know it's terrible, I'm sorry, but it's always felt really hard to grasp on a personal level. So I was really loving about the honors is that we dig into that like in a scholarly way, but also in a way that you can apply to yourself and how like your life and what your beliefs and thoughts are. So I think that's just really important to bring out as well. The honors college isn't just about, talking about random old people from Europe in whatever date, and it's not just about random old people in the Bible or whatever. This is like how these two things mesh with your life. And it's also the way that you want to look at it. None of the colloquy professors are going to be telling you certain things that you don't like, force things on you. These are all knowledge and questions and conclusions that you come to yourself as well. So I think that's really important to talk about on your faith journey, not only as just a person, but as a scholar, if that's something that you're choosing to do. But yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for all those juicy details, guys. We love getting your perspective. I do want to direct a question also along the lines of faith to Dr. Kern. The question we have here is, what does it mean to you to integrate your faith into your work and what you teach?
All right. Thank you for being patient with me. We're having a windstorm here, and so I'm sure you're all used to this, dealing with Zoom during not opportune circumstances. But I feel dealing with faith is one of the most exciting parts of the Honors College. It's so exciting to take these books. Like it said in Curtis's video that the Honors College is for people who like to read and write. But in fact, someone in our colloquy this fall said he hated reading in high school, but he signed up anyway, thought he'd give it a try. And what makes it exciting is we are processing these books and we're looking and seeing, does this align with scripture? Does this make sense? Does this pan out? Because we need to have answers. We don't want to have the type of Christianity that just ignores every other voice. We need to interact with it as scholars and say, hey, this here is our answer to that, or we don't know the answer to that, but we're working on it. And to really listen to all the different voices, but then try to derive a biblically sound answer from people who are also struggling to live out their faith. And it's really exciting to do that in a safe community. And that's one of the things that I think is really a hallmark of our conversations, is that we are for each other. We are not, we are working rigorously, but we are also supporting each other and supporting each other's differences of opinion. It's not a battle. We're all working to figure it out. And we're looking at some pretty hard texts along the way while we do it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. We've got some questions coming in for some of our students here. So I'm going to go ahead and share one. It says, how does the Honors College social experience compare to or is different from those that are not Honors College students? So I'm going to actually go ahead and we'll lead in with Jackson. If you can share a little bit about, what your social experience is compared to regular coursework. And then if anyone else wants to jump in real quick, we'll go ahead and do that, but we're going to head and move forward after that.
Excellent. Yes. Okay. Well, so I think that in many ways, your social experience in college is going to be largely a reflection of your own investment into that. But I will say that the Honors College does an exceptional job of promoting connectedness and community amongst each other. I was fortunate as a freshman, I was on campus, and so I had probably a little bit of a different experience than at least Tayina and Ellie. In terms of, I was living in the same dorm hall as a bunch of other honors guys. And so it was actually a very beautiful experience. And for me, actually created, it was really the place where I can trace back many of my friendships with people that are not in my own major. Because that's one thing that I will say that is a little bit less, is a little bit something you will trade off, is that if you're in the Honors College, you become exposed to a bunch of other honors majors or minors who are of different majors than you necessarily. And then you're going to have all your major courses that are going to be your other major courses that are going to be, if that's business, if that's psychology, if that's biology, if that's, sociology, anything like that, right? That's where you'll see those ones. And so in a sense, you're limited to either you're seeing you're in an honors major class with somebody, or you're in a major alternative major class with somebody. Whereas theoretically, if you are not an honors major and you're doing your regular major, then you have your GEs, is you might have more interaction with people in multiple other majors. Now, the types of friendships and things like that are going to be very likely dependent on your own personal investment in those things. I feel that actually, and I don't know if it's a direct correlation with the fact that we talk about Aristotle friendship, but I've been very lucky to make the best friends I've ever had in my life all are in the Honors College with me. And I think part of that is, to Dr. Kern's point, it's wrestling through these important life questions that are, big, important, valuable, long-lasting, that are existential, and to use another just big term, they're cosmically consequential for everything else that's ever going to exist. And so, it's a big idea to have, or it's big and important to kind of deal with these things. And so, I mean, I don't know if you could directly draw it, but they say that when you go skydiving, the first person you look at after that, you have like an immediate deeper connection with. It's because you're going through something that's big together. I would say that the Honors College creates a space for you to go through something big with other people that, in my opinion, promotes a great place for friendship. It's not for everybody, of course, at least not at this time. But I would say that it's been a phenomenal social experience for me. I can't speak to somebody who's not Honors College, but I can speak to the honors minor. So.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, even though I've been online this whole semester, I also have like kind of a similar experience to Jackson, in that I just feel so close to the people that I'm doing this with, and I'm several states away. I'm in Texas. Most of my friends are in California, but I feel so close to these people because of the things that we're learning alongside each other. And so right now, for me, that looks like phone calls and coffee dates on Zoom, but we're talking about these things that really matter. And I just want to say, that can happen online also. So, an encouragement.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, guys. I know that those are some tough questions. You guys are on top of it all. We're going to go ahead, and I have an actual question that we have in regards to business. And so, what does it look like to be a business major and be in the Honors College? And I know Curtis is going to go ahead and lead a little bit into this point, but Kaylee, if you did have any insight, since you were a business major, maybe you can add a little to it too after Curtis adds his pieces.
So whatever you decide to do when it comes to business, whether that's finances, marketing, management, whatever that may be, you are working with people. There's an author, his name is Donald Miller, and he has this whole framework around story. And the idea is that every character has a problem, meets a guide who gives them a piece of advice that leads to a great tragedy or a great celebration or success. But within the challenge that a person faces, whether that's, man, we're not making enough money as a business, or the coronavirus has changed everything that we do, there's a that's an external problem that has internal ramifications and philosophical depth to what customers may be experiencing. If a person isn't engaging in the humanities, a person isn't engaging in human motivation and understanding and psychology, how could a person in business fully understand the needs that are needing to be met? In the Honors College, you won't just discover these various philosophical ramifications that will inform good business practice, organizational development, but practically, as you persist through all 4 years, you will show up to your job interview having said you published a book. You spent a whole year with a team of people collaborating together, editing together, coming up with the cover art for this, reaching out to the actor from Lord of the Rings to be able to share about such great success. I mean, not just that, but you have double majored. You have double majored, and it shows that you're a hard worker. Businesses can train you, but emotional intelligence, virtue, understanding, and integration across all fields, which you'll experience in colloquies as you're hearing from diverse perspectives right now, you can't quite get that just by diving into business. And so that integration and it not being separate is so key. So as you engage with the humanities and engage in business, you will leave with collaborative partnerships within the Honors College, not just because you wrote a book, but because you know how to interact with all people. And so that is how that vocational integration and engagement will take place. And I'm excited to hear what Kaylee has to say about her interest in coming to APU as a business major and what kind of drew her to our specific business program and also in the Honors College with that integration.
Yeah, honestly, I would say as far as what drew me to the business program at APU, it would definitely be the faculty. I had an awesome experience getting to go to an academic connect with the business program. And so I would say if you're interested in business, and I don't know if the business program is doing any of those virtually right now, but if they are, I would definitely encourage you to go to one of those. It's really awesome to get to interact with some of the faculty and even some of the students from the department if they have those participating. But yeah, and then in terms of how business interacts with honors, I think the number one thing, yeah, I would definitely want to emphasize what Curtis said. I totally agree that like you're going to be working with people in business. And so the Honors College really complements that in a wonderful way. Like it really helps you with, public speaking skills, as Curtis mentioned in his presentation, and critical thinking skills, which are so important no matter what subfield of business you are wanting to go into. And so I was a management major, and I know there's lots of different kinds of business majors that you could be, but for management specifically, I think you are learning some like more theoretical things, but you're also learning a lot of really practical skills such as like accounting and maybe finance and just really hands-on type stuff, marketing as well. Whereas the Honors College is a lot more theoretical, and you're learning how to, like I said earlier, critically think and discuss things with people and publicly speak, which are all things that are so important and so relevant and that really just complement those practical skills that you're learning. So yeah, I think Dr. Kern wanted to say something as well.
Yes, I just wanted to piggyback on what both Kaylee and Curtis were saying. I have a student who was in my freshman colloquy 2 years ago. She's now a junior, and she wrote us after this summer, and she did an internship with the Department of Energy. And she was the only student who didn't have the real technical background that all the other applicants did, but they admitted her. And over the summer, she rose to the top because they realized, and she credited this all to the Honors College, that she was used to working with a room of people. She was used to presenting her work clearly. She was used to assimilating information. And so they put her in charge of all the incoming interns at this internship. And she wrote this lengthy, multiple page email at the end of summer. And she said, this is all because of the Honors College. And it was just wonderful to see that it seems like this might, that you're,
I might have lost her there for a second. Thank you so much, Dr. Kern. When you pop back, feel free to add some more insight. Is she there? Great. All right, well, thank you so much, Dr. Kern, for sharing. We're gonna go ahead and move on to our next question. Technology, right? I mean, we're working with it. The next question we do have, I'm actually gonna direct this at Jackson. And anyone else that feel like they have a little snippet, I love all of your guys' little chunks of wisdom, is how does the Honors College curriculum and teaching help you to prepare students for your vocation or your profession?
Oh, I love this question, actually, because I think similarly to Taina, I did not come into college as somebody who I think really thought that I enjoyed reading, really thought that I enjoyed some of the ways that we practice communication. To give you guys a little bit more context, I am a senior biology pre-med. I actually am applying for MD PhD, so I want to be a physician researcher. So that's, very different than what you would think, right, would pair with the Honors College. And especially for thinking about, right, when I deal with science, you think about like very hands-on, tangible things. And when you're dealing with the Honors College, right, it feels somewhat parallel and yet very different because things are metaphysical and a little bit less so. But one thing that I would 100% say that the Honors College just really works on, and I think it's such a wonderful skill because I think that this world is severely lacking in it, is the ability to communicate complex ideas, which is one thing you're dealing with very complex thinking and thinkers all the time. You can learn how to, and what that entails obviously is then speeches, it entails writing, and it entails obviously then, everyday conversation, because there's a difference between prepared speech and colloquial, correct? And so I would say as somebody who is, wanting to go into the medical field of all things and then having this, it's been such an excellent way of developing those skills. But the other piece that I think is just that you almost can't even pay for this kind of thing is learning how to think, and being able to have a civil conversation with somebody who you may disagree with. Taina and Ellie can speak to this because we've actually had many conversations where things have gone where, we've come at things with different perspectives. And so our understandings of certain ideas is going to be very different. And we live in an extremely polarized world right now, right? Where you're going to have people from all kinds of perspectives, all kinds of ideas, and yet very little room to listen. And so it's so difficult for most people, right, to have a conversation where you disagree with somebody and you're able to entertain their ideas and fully listen and say, do I have the intellectual humility to say that I'm going to that I maybe don't know something that you have to say? And do I have the intellectual hospitality to let you speak, even if I may disagree with you? And I think that that's an element that you can't pay for that. You can't pay for having somebody teach you how to listen and how to articulate complex ideas and how to just give somebody the time of day to say, you know what? I didn't think that I agreed with you, but I want to give you the space to talk, because guess what? If I give you that space to talk, I might learn something from you, which is exceptionally valuable in and of itself, but then that might open the conversation to them listening to you, right? And now you have a civil conversation with somebody who you may never have been able to do so if you hadn't had just the compassion to just say, I'm going to listen, I'm going to sit, I'm going to talk, I'm going to relax. I'm not going to come at this with some presupposition that you're going to believe something or view something in a way that I could have predicted. And I think that, we watch these debates on TV, right, just to talk about like the recent election, right? And there's just very little listen and understand. And I think that skill right there will just, no matter what your field is, I mean, if you want to be a physician, you're going to be talking to people of all levels of intellect. If you're going to be in any of these fields, if you're going to be an actor or an actress, like Taina, right, you're going to be somebody who's got to communicate truth and talk about people in all levels of backgrounds and all kinds of things, and that's important. If you're going to be in psychology like either Ellie or Kaylee, like these things are important, and having the ability to just converse with people in a safe, productive, and very open way creates real connection in a way that's just, I think you can't pay for that. In my personal opinion, I think that's the piece of the Honors College that makes it invaluable. No matter how much you might be paying a little bit more, a little bit less, right, for whatever, there are some skills in college that you just can't get, in my opinion, in a general education class. And I think that's what this is about for me. And I've just absolutely loved it. I can go on and on forever about how much I love the Honors College, but that's my short answer, which I'm sorry that's a little bit long.
No, it's amazing. That's such incredible insight. Thank you so much, Jackson. Dr. Kern, the question was specifically around how does the Honors College prepare you for your vocation? So for you, I would love to hear, what are you doing to prepare your students for their vocation or for their profession? Now we've heard the student about how they felt prepared. What are you actually doing to help prepare those students?
Wow, I don't know if I can say it better than Jackson. That is exactly what we are trying to do, because truly delving into, I mean, I agree with everything he said. One comment I might add is that we learn to really research and really learn and reach out even with the people we are not face to face with. And we really devote ourselves to that. We try to be listeners, and when we speak or write, to do it with Christ-like intention of honesty and clarity. I mean, it's a difficult world for people to come to any kind of action or agreement, and we really feel that our rigorous preparation, where you repeat these skills and you build on them year after year, we see the difference. When you look at our juniors and seniors and you see how they turn out and what they can do, it is really the best preparation. So sometimes people come in thinking, oh, I want honors for its resume line because it looks so good on your transcript. Oh, I have an honors major. But by the time they leave, they realize that the more valuable things, it's not on the paper, it's what you carry with you.
Amazing, amazing. I love all of that. That's such great insight. We do have a couple questions that we're getting close to the end of our time here. So I want to make sure that if you guys have any more questions, put those in the Q&A, because we're coming to the end of this. But the next question that we will lead with is, and maybe Curtis could share a little bit about this, or anyone else that might have some insight, is what's been the experience for Honors College students that are also communications students? What does that look like? Is that pair well with maybe any other minors or majors? Let us know.
Yeah, so a little bit about the communication major. As you dive into that specific degree program, you will learn how to communicate in a one-on-one business context and an interpersonal context. In addition to that, in a small group context as well. You know, when it comes to engaging in various platforms, small group is a part of that dynamic, and then organizationally as well. There's three aspects when it comes to the communications degree, and I want to draw that into the context within the Honors College. The first one is problem solving, technology, and then culture. In the communications department, you will engage with various forms of technology, whether that is in front of a camera or a giant production camera. Like if you're wanting to be a sports journalism major, that's an option, or even written form technology on web-based platforms. And so you'll engage in that context. In addition to that, you'll be able to solve problems. Some of the best articles are meeting the needs of the various problems of our time. And so you will learn how to engage with the conflict and the problems that are needing to be communicated in our society today, whether that is in a journalism internship opportunity at APU with our university relations team, or our journalism production at APU. But also in addition to that, you will learn how to engage with culture. And so throughout your time in the communications department, you're going to learn how to engage with culture. Now, how does that apply to honors? Everything that we do in honors is engaging with culture. You're engaging with culture in a very intentional ways as you're reading about how people had thought throughout the changing realities of society up to this point. You heard a little bit about what we have talked about already, about how small group communication works, and we do that really, really well. But when it comes to technology, Dr. Berry, throughout your entire first year at APU, you will, in addition to the communication classes you're taking, you will learn how to almost give TED Talk style presentations. I mean, the kind of critique and rubric that you're getting from a one-on-one tutoring style when it comes to your public speaking, 10x is the experience that you're going to get in a bigger group classroom doing impromptu speeches. And so we come alongside the learning that you're doing in all the other departments, as Jackson shared, but specifically with communication. You will not leave Azusa Pacific in the Honors College not being able to communicate organizationally in a small group context and interpersonal context without engaging with technology, culture, and problem solving in a very, very in-depth, in your face kind of way.
Just sticking real quick, because I know we're getting close to the end, but in case anyone was doubting about whether or not their program fits in with honors, like both Jackson and Curtis have mentioned, there's something to be learned from honors for everyone, like literally everyone. So if you are more of a tangible person, better with like STEM, and you need facts and you need figures and you need stats, you need all this stuff, like all of our texts provide that. I mean, we've only been in our first semester and I can see that. If you're more abstract and creative minded, you have writing, you have all of these conversations, you have like literally, again, literature that you can just talk to and interchange all of this stuff that isn't just facts and figures, you know? So at the end of the day, honors is about that exchange of communication and knowledge between people. And that's applicable for wherever you're going in life. So I just wanted to put that emphasis there for anyone who might be hesitating about whether or not they fit in with honors. So even if you aren't like what you consider smart, I mean, but honestly, what is that standard, right? This is anything that you want to put into and then get out of. So this can be for anyone who wants to do it. Just emphasis on that.
Amazing, great insight. I appreciate that. The last question that we have here. So if you have anything you really want to get in, you got to get it in now. But our last question here we're going to have for Kaylee, and it is in your program, right? And we're talking about the Honors College. What type of opportunities are provided to help you guys get real world experience so that when you go out into the world, you're ready? So what kind of opportunities, Kaylee, have maybe you experienced?
Yeah, honestly, I think that everyone has said a little bit on this topic and everyone has made such good points, especially what Jackson and Dr. Kern had been saying earlier. But I think, yeah, definitely the big things that I would emphasize would be the speeches that you do with Dr. Berry. I know that Curtis just mentioned that, but that is so huge. And honestly, in my opinion, that is something that really helps. Like what I'm doing right now, I'm talking to you guys, and even though I can't see your faces, like I'm speaking in front of a group right now. And honestly, before I was in the Honors College, I would probably be like way more nervous than I am right now. And so this is a very real world situation, just to give one example. But I know that honestly, no matter what field you go in, and that is something that Dr. Berry has really emphasized in the public speaking workshops, is she always asks you what your major is, and then she tells you exactly how public speaking is going to relate to your field specifically, and how you're going to use what you're learning. And that is something that I really have valued and appreciated. So I think that that is a huge one. And then also the papers that you write, I would say that that gives you really practical real world experience, because you're really learning how to look at an issue, and you're learning how to formulate thoughts for yourself. This is along the lines of what Jackson was saying earlier. You have to learn how to think critically, and also it just teaches you the practical skills of like grammar and writing mechanics. I know for me personally, I've gotten so much better at that because I'm writing more papers than I probably would in a general education program. So yeah, that is a definite big one. And then also just like in the discussions that you're having. So you're learning how to have conversation with people. That is so huge. So yeah, again, I just want to emphasize everything that everyone in this group has already said. I think that they've spoken volumes to this topic.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kaylee. Before we go, I would love for each of you to give just a word of advice to the students that are here with us. I thank you all for holding tight. It looks like all of you have stuck with us to the end. What we'll do is I'll kind of key you guys at like popcorn through. If you guys can give us just, you know, a word of advice, a sentence of advice, and then Curtis, if you can end with, you know, timelines. When will these students know that they've been accepted to the Honors College? What's next, right? If you could retouch on those things, that would be amazing. So go ahead, we'll start with Jackson, and then we'll popcorn through if you guys can give us some advice. We'd appreciate that for this incoming class.
Excellent. I think I said at the beginning, I would 100% say that pick the school where you feel like where you want to be. Obviously, you got to be accepted there, but pick the school where you want to be, where your heart is, so that you're not feeling any misalignment between your mind and your heart. Because trust me, that's a tough place to be.
I can take next. I would say if you got to put in what you want to get out. So if you don't think you're going to get anything from the Honors College, you're not going to get anything from the Honors College. And I think that applies wherever you're going to go. So throughout this whole process, choosing a school, looking at schools, looking at for programs, put in what you want to get out. So if you want to get the most, then put in what you want to get out of it. Yeah.
How about Ellie or Kaylee?
Sure. Yeah. So this is a little bit counterintuitive, but I would say to prioritize rest. Even in the season you're in right now, you can only work as hard as you're resting. So take care of yourselves, rest, reflect, prioritize connection. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say to don't be fearful to reach out to your community, to the people, no matter where you go in college. Don't be afraid to reach out and just ask someone if they want to FaceTime or have a cup of coffee, depending on the situation. I know that that is something that's so important right now. And honestly, even if you don't make your best friends right away, that's something that a piece of advice that someone gave me that I really valued. That's okay. You will definitely make friends in college.
Amazing. Dr. Kern?
Yeah, I would just say that God knows what you are going through right now. I mean, one of the things that I love the Honors College is we read Augustine. Imagine in AD 400 and there's an epidemic sweeping the world and everyone was dying. And, you know, God has been through these things before, even though we see this as this unexpected, horrible year everybody's having. God is still in control. And so you do your due diligence, you research, you see where you think you fit, and then you just step forth and trust God, because you're never going to have all the information that you wish you had. You know, God is in control and God knows better than you do. So I think you just do your best and don't feel fear about it. So have faith that God knows.
Amazing. And Curtis, give us your piece of advice, timelines, what's next?
I think the only piece of advice is, man, stay connected. Stay connected throughout this admissions journey. Having been an admissions professional for the last, 5 years, it can be quite lonely at times. And I'll tell you this, your admissions counselor at Azusa Pacific, man, they want to get to know you. They want to journey alongside you. And over here in the Honors College, we want to do the same. All the people that you've heard, or you're going to have the opportunity to hear from them in the future as well, in a more interpersonal, connecting way. Even Jackson and Dr. Kern, whether that's through a colloquy event, actually experiencing what we've talked so much about, or even a easy phone call, quick phone call with Kaylee, because maybe we've done too many Zoom calls, or Taina and Ellie. Man, my advice would be stay connected. We want to get to know you. We want to encourage you. And so what are some next steps? One, hey, reach out. If you have any pressing questions about the process or when you're going to be admitted, hey, reach out to us. We love to connect with you. And our email is apuhonors@apu.edu, apuhonors@apu.edu. And when it comes to the timeline, if you submitted your application by our priority deadline, we hope that we can get back to you before our regular decision deadline February 15th. It likely will happen a lot sooner than that, but definitely before February 15th, a regular decision deadline. And for that one, we hope to get back to you by March. After that, you're going to want to attend some of our events in the spring. If you enjoyed this event, I mean, you'll get to go into breakout rooms connecting with some current students. You're going to get to connect with some faculty members. You're going to be able to join a colloquy and dive into discussion, and actually reading that text that Jackson mentioned on friendship. I joined that one last year, incredibly impacted me. We have so many different opportunities to be able to do that. And so just, hey, stay connected. And then after you've made your decision, submit that deposit, fill out your FAFSA before then, connect with your admissions counselor, connect with your admissions counselor, connect with your admissions counselor. We want to get to know you. We want to journey alongside you. So those are some easy next steps.
Amazing. Well, I just want to thank you all for joining us today. You guys are phenomenal students, and we're excited to see where the Lord leads you guys next. Thank you to our current Honors College, our faculty, to our Assistant Director, Curtis. You guys are killing it. We appreciate it so much. And I just want you guys to know, in the chat, we've dropped the Honors College email. The campus tour is there for you if you want to sign up for a campus tour with us. We have an incredible virtual tour experience. And of course, reach out. That's going to be the best way for you to get this one-on-one, talk about intentional, right, undergraduate student experience, and be able to meet with these guys and talk a little bit further, okay? So if you have any questions, let us know. But thank you for joining us. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you all later.